Hello everyone and welcome back to Satisfactory. In the last episode, we were able to upgrade all of our miners to Mark II miners and built those materials back to base, as well as picked up some extra along the way. We also completed phase 2 of project assembly and did a major upgrade to our coal power plant, jumping us from 900 to 2400 megawatts. But today we're getting into oil and all of the fun that comes with that. So if that is something that you're into, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and let's jump in to Satisfactory. And now with our power situation handled for the right now, it's time to jump into that oil processing. Yes, we need to get into this because we want to have some fun with the jetpack. But unfortunately, with the jetpack, you can't really do anything with it because you need packaged fuel. And packaged fuel, as sweet as it is, you need plastic to unlock it. Well, I guess we'll start with the old oil processing and we'll go from there. So let's select this milestone and go gather up the materials we needed to get this done. And with all the materials, launch the rocket and oil processing begins.
Milestone reached. Crude oil can now be extracted and refined to produce various industrially beneficial parts. The byproducts of these processes will require careful management, but a capable pioneer such as yourself surely understands that. To improve efficiency, pipelines can now be optimized with valves to limit and balance their throughput. These were initially left out because Fixit did not want to overwhelm pioneers with complex pipeline management, but they have since been re-added after my impassioned defense of your capabilities.
Well, thank you. I feel like that's a bit of a backhanded compliment, Ada. So where are we going to go for oil? Well, probably one of the best places in the game starting out. Not permanent best place in the game, but definitely for the right now. If we do a quick scan, I'll show you exactly where I mean. Ah yes, right here. There are plenty of nodes in this area with their purity being pretty good to get us established and get a decent amount of stock of what we need. So we'll run over there real quick and get that oil established. If I remember correctly, it's right over there somewhere on this island. And before we go over there, we need to make sure that we're loaded for bear because there will be things that bump in the night over there and we'll have to eliminate a few of them. I think there's flies and some other things. Hey, we met our first friend. Hello, friend. Tell me if that hurts. We're not really equipped to handle these kinds of things, so it does give a little bit of the ouchies, but it's all right. Just take a nap, you'll be okay. Flies, on the other hand, they're a little bit tougher. You gotta get them just at the right time to try to get them to where they don't hatch, but I'm not that good. Oh gosh, that didn't work. This is why we play video games and not professional sports. Give me that. You guys, go away. Oh my gosh, I don't have any more rebar. Now we're in trouble. All right, I'm ready for round 2. Come here, guys. Let's see if I can get lucky and shoot another one. Gotcha. Oh, shot me into the air. We have any friends over here? Oh, just 2 little ones. Take that right to the face. You're shooting your friend, sir. I don't think that's very nice. Animal cruelty. That's not very nice. We can tell why I don't play first-person shooters. That's for sure. Yeah, that's right. Go to sleep. Rebar in the face always makes me tired, too. So here's our first crude oil node, and I believe the other one is right over there. So we should set something up right here. Oh, my, that's one of the big ones. But we'll get to that in a second. We have to take out this herd. They do move in herds. And they all die in herds, too. But now I kind of am curious of this big guy here. I wonder how many Noblisk it'll take to kill him. Oh boy, he's opening up. See if we can take out those guys. Oh, they're coming. They're coming. Come here, little buzzy buzz. All right, that didn't work. We need to heal. Heal, breathe. We just need to breathe. We just need to breathe. I see you. Ugh, you little jerk. Come here. Come here. Get right on top of that. Yeah, it hurts me, but it hurts you too. All right, let's do the creepy crawl trick. Maybe we can get in a lot closer and set up a few bombs in this guy's close proximity. Oh gosh, I woke him up. You know what? Forget this. Just die, sir. From the distance. You're not dying very easy at all. Ooh, piece of candy. We'll get that later. Good lord, I think I've thrown like 6 nobelisks in this thing. Some of them not as close as they should be. Yeah, run away! I'm beginning to think that nobelisks don't work on this thing. Oh, there, finally. What, you came to play fetch too? Here, have that. Ouch! Okay, time for another breath. Now, I know there's some other baddies over there, but we're not going to bother them, and they're probably not in close enough proximity to us to bother me. So now, let's set up some oil. I think it's definitely time to get some oil production. One oil extractor there, and the other one from over here, and both of these are normal nodes, so they won't give us a ton, but they'll give us enough to get us started. Probably like 4 or 5 refineries worth. That's all I really want. So probably just establish this thing somewhere about, I don't know, where's the world grid? Right here? That seems good enough for me. I don't really know how big I'm gonna need this, so we'll just make a large platform here. I can tell you're gonna be in my way. So with our platform finally established and nature out of our way, the next thing is to set up the refineries and figure out what our production is going to be. So we definitely want plastic, and we also want rubber. Motors. 1 second, please. This whole walking back and forth for materials, although it's good for the quads, is super annoying. Oh yes, where were we? Okay, so rubber, plastic, fuel. So we need to know what we need for all of these. So to make the plastic with the heavy oil residue, we're going to need 30 crude oil a minute. And to make the rubber with heavy oil residue, we're going to need 30 oil a minute as well. Now each of these do produce a different amount of heavy oil residue. One makes 20 and the other makes 10. So to make the residual fuel, all we'll need is 60 heavy oil a minute to make 40 fuel a minute. Not a bad ratio, really. There are much better ratios in alternate recipes, but for now, with the limitation of our technology, this is what we'll do. So I know I'm going to need quite a bit of plastic, so I think plastic will be the primary. Give us a couple of squares to deal with piping and all kinds of other things. I'm thinking 4 of these particularly. Then we'll put a space and then do 2 of them for rubber for now, and do 2 for the heavy oil residue into residual fuel. Total of about 8 refineries should do the trick. Now, as they need 30 oil apiece, what I'm thinking is we'll have that oil right there feed into the plastic, and then we'll have this oil feed over into rubber, and we can expand the rubber if we ever so need to. So it shouldn't be too hard to pipe all that over here. And granted, we do only have the Mark 1 pipes, so we're gonna have to kind of finagle this just ever so little bit, but it shouldn't be too bad. So this is the general concept. Oil comes up, goes into the rubber makers, and then oil comes up and goes into plastic. Now the big thing was getting all the heavy oil residue to these generators, and yes, I had to flip them around because I'm a big dummy. I put the exits on this way, not the entrances, but it's okay, it's okay. It's just the beginning. How could I have ever known? Now, the great thing about pipes is they're real finicky. And when I say finicky, I mean to get them established always takes me a good long while to make a nice connection, even with all the wonderful things that they have to make said connections. I would really like this to be more of a vertical thing, so when I change it to vertical, I expect it to be vertical, but it's not. And that's just how it is. So I'll be honest, this always takes me a few tries to get things kind of established the way I want it, till it gets to a positioning of the pipe that I kind of am willing to accept. Once I get things into the height that I want it, then it's easier to get the belts underneath it because we're going to have to merge these things together and do some things, and I don't know. I always just kind of struggle with the piping stuff. It just never ends up turning out the way I want it to. And, I always just put things down and I change the way it looks and then I go somewhere else with it, but yeah, it's a good time. But the main thing is as long as we're out of the way of the outputs here, that's all that really matters to me. Making sure that our plastic is in a position where it can get out of here and continue to produce that heavy oil residue. As that's super important if we want to get our jetpack, and boy howdy do we ever. But let me finish this up because we're gonna have to pull some of this plastic off to make packages so that we can package the fuel probably over in this area. We may have to expand this concrete out just a little bit to make it make more sense and have enough room for belts. But I'm gonna go ahead and finish it and you guys can just see the wonderful results. Maybe I'll even clean it up a bit. There we go. That looks much nicer and it's way cleaner. We rose everything up so that we could have it on the same level and that made it easier for the piping. I thought to myself, why am I making this so hard on myself? And Mr. Bean, are you okay? Are you having problems, sir? Are you just having fun on my oil rig? It's very American of you, and I appreciate that, sir. Well, as Mr. Bean continues to play with the pipe, I'll explain what we did here. So we have one oil rig feeding into the 4 refineries for plastic, and the second feeds into the 2 rubber refineries. For now, we may need to get some more in the future, but you don't need as much rubber as you do plastic. The heavy oil residue comes across here and feeds into our 2 residual fuel. Yep, you got it right, 2. We needed 2 to make sure that we process it, and one of these was set at 33.3 so that we could burn off that extra 20 heavy oil residue that we're producing. I don't want to mess with the numbers on these too much because I want to produce as much rubber and plastic as possible. But all that comes around and into this buffer, and this buffer is just here to, buffer things, of course. So the plastic will come down here and it'll go into this storage here and it'll go into our dimensional pocket. I stole one of my Mercer spheres from the main base. Yeah, there was a lot of trips back and forth there. It was no fun at all. But really, the other half of it needs to go into a couple constructors. That way we can produce the empty canisters that we need to package our fuel. And as we don't have the fuel packagers just yet, we'll wait to hook all that up. So we'll have one of these running at a lower rate. That way we don't produce too many, and we're only producing 60 fuel, so it's not a lot of fuel. But we can't even select the recipe for the packaged fuel yet because we don't have the empty canisters because we haven't unlocked the packaged fuel. So the main thing is just getting power up here so that we can have the rubber and the plastic going into the dimensional storage. So it looks like another walk all the way back to base. Oh boy, this has been getting really annoying. As you can see, I established myself a bridge because I got tired of not being able to slide. Those extra few slides help get back to base a little bit sooner. But I think there's something that we can do to make this a little faster with the zip line and the power poles, the big ones. So there's really 2 things that we need to make these power poles a possibility and ziplining back and forth. Because I'm telling you right now, going back and forth by foot sucks. I could use a truck, but I'd much rather zipline. We need the expanded power infrastructure so that we can get all of these wonderful things. We can get the power tower with a platform, the non-platform one, and batteries. Batteries could come in handy. Definitely something we should look into. For now, we'll just select that milestone, and I believe I have everything that I need in my inventory to launch that rocket. Heck yeah! What do you got to say, Ada?
Milestone reached. After several pioneers started exhibiting traumatic responses to power blackouts, Fixit developed mitigation tools recommended by your local therapist. Power storages can hold excess power to delay or prevent blackouts in the eventuality that your factory's power consumption exceeds production. To simplify, these are rechargeable batteries. Power towers carry power lines for significantly greater distances than poles, facilitating factory expansion and exploitation of this environment for the good of Fixit and humanity.
The last thing we need to operate on those power wires is the zip line, and that takes Caterium wire. Okay, quick wire it is. So I did have this set up so that I could smelt things in a hurry and construct them if needed. So we can just utilize what we have here. And as far as Caterium goes, I'm pretty sure that I found quite a few pure nodes, and we should be able to pull this stuff out. Hopefully it's enough. I don't know if it will be, but we'll go ahead and throw this in and hope that we can get enough to get all the quick wire that we need to unlock a couple tiers of stuff. And now with the quick wire that we need to unlock the zip line, we'll go ahead and do so.
Zipline unlocked. When equipped, the zipline facilitates travel along power lines, regardless of whether the line is powered. Note: based on previous Pioneer events, Fixit recommends not using ziplines during thunderstorms and typhoons, or while drinking coffee.
While drinking coffee? Ada, stop it. It's my favorite drink. So here's my idea. We'll go ahead and make a platform here. That way we can put the first of the zipline that we're going to be making right up on top of this. We'll power it and then send it off on and up in its way over there. Now, if I remember correctly from seeing things in the demonstration, these things can go a great distance, and I mean a great distance between power towers, and that's pretty awesome. So we may just try to go ahead and put one, like, I don't know, maybe up here and have it zipline across. I don't know, maybe it's better over here. And that way we can get a better idea of where we're going. We'll probably head this direction and then go down that kind of game road that they have going on. Now, the one bad thing I would say about these things is that it's hard to tell where exactly they are. You kind of have to position them and away from you so that you can see how far the top is turning and how far it's not. That way you can get a good idea of where you're placing said tower. So you don't really get a good kind of idea of where it's going and where it's coming from. I don't know. I imagine that the zipline can't turn very well. So for now, we'll just kind of place these along and see how far we can go and all that kind of stuff. Ugh, there's somebody in my way. Hold on. I need to murder you. But now that we have our first couple established, we can go ahead and see how far these things are going to go without needing another tower. The farther we can go, the better. Because, man oh man, these things are kind of expensive. Not like crazy expensive, just kind of expensive. So I guess that's too long, but we can get to the top of this hill. Yeah, that's a good start. And we'll just keep placing these along. I don't think I want to go down this way. I think I actually want to go down towards this. And we'll probably straighten that out a bit, put it there, and then keep going all the way to where our oil rig is. Ah, zip lining. This is way better. And we ended up putting a few of them on platforms just to make them look like they belong where they're at. It's much nicer having the ability to just kind of look over all the enemies below and see the corpses that we've left behind. The one bad thing I would tell you is it is tough to make the transition between lines sometimes because 90-degree turns, yeah, they're not very nice. And we kind of just booped this one right here in line with everything else. But now that we're back where we belong, right here at our oil power plant, and it doesn't take very long to get back and forth. So I guess it's just time to hook up the power to everything and make sure it is going and that everything works according. Except there's no power. Did we forget to hook it up back at the base? Oh boy. Okay, well, at least we have a zipline now to get ourselves back in a hurry. Alright, now that we're back here and we're certain that the power is back on, it's time to again try this a second time. Oh, there it goes. Pumping out that beautiful black gold. Now we do have this one set at 65 a minute, and that's just because we're trying to conserve a little bit of power, as power is not unlimited as of now, until we get a fuel generator setup going, but that's just because it's supplying these two rubber makers, and we don't need a lot of oil there. The other one, it's set to full blast, so it's going to start sending that crude all the way down this pipeline and into these plastic makers right away. Because that plastic is coming out hot and heavy, and we absolutely love it. We're not making a lot of it, but like I said, just enough to get it into our dimensional storage so that we can utilize that to unlock the next tech. What tech would that be? Fuel packing, because we need that packaged fuel. That's right, so we're back at base and we have all the things that we need to make this, except for the copper sheets and the steel beams. One moment, please. Like I was saying, the steel beams and the copper sheets for the packaged fuel. Excellent.
Milestone reached. Avoid the embarrassment of placing liquids in your pockets only for them to spread across your suit. Package and unpackage them with the packager. Packaging fluids allows them to be transported in your inventory, on conveyor belts, and by vehicles. For increased, non-pocket related fluid storage, you can now use the industrial fluid buffer.
Excellent. All good things that we need knowledge to have. But now all we have to do is head all the way back to our fuel area and get that stuff packaged up. So the things that you'll need to do packaged fuel are, well, a container to put it in, and we're going to use plastic for right now. We don't really have anything else in the area to do that, so I'm just going to use plastic to get things rolling. And we'll probably need about 2 constructors to make said plastic. So we'll put those things down right here, and we'll just pull off the plastic and into there. I think that'll be good enough for now. One of these will probably be set to lower, because we're making 40 fuel a minute. So into the packaging, I think we could just put probably 2 of these right here. I don't even know how much packaged fuel it makes. So 40 per minute. Are we really making 40 or was it 60? I was wrong. So we're making 13 more than we need because we had to use that heavy oil up to keep our plastic and rubber producing. So one of these has to make 13 packaged fuel. Ugh, that's a really awful number. And now with our empty fuel canisters being constructed, as well as lots of fuel being produced, we just need to store that stuff into our dimensional depot, and we're gonna have it on our person all of the time. Little Mark II action, I think, is definitely necessary. Okay, so fuel, check. Packages of fuel, double check. What now do we need? What is that last thing? Oh yeah, the jetpack. Oh yeah, baby. I cannot wait to be jetting around everywhere and everything. Oh, sweet freedom, sweet glorious freedom. To float and flap around forever and ever, just waving my hands in the air like I just don't care. And it'll make it much easier in making those 90-degree transitions that I mistakenly did. And no more ouchies, because I can stop myself right before I hit the ground. Oh, sweet, sweet freedom to float around. Oh, this is the best part of the game. This is truly the best part of the game. It makes making and building things so much easier. Okay, I feel absolutely relieved. Relieved as could be. Now, the one thing that's going to be bad about this setup is eventually our rubber is going to stop producing because we'll fill up this bin. We've got quite a bit of time before that happens, but I believe that smart splitters are probably now in order, just to make sure that we're pushing off anything that we need this way first, and then as well as this way, and then any abundance or overflow needs to go and be grinded into points and tickets. That's definitely something that needs to happen. As far as these guys and their amount of fuel that they have, well, we can always flush these buffers if we ever so need to, but I'm pretty sure that we'll package up most of this pretty quickly. The thing is that's going to fill up too. If that fills up, then the packagers fill up. If the packagers fill up, then the fuel fills up. The fuel fills up, then the heavy oil fills up, then no more rubber and plastic. So we will need a couple awesome sinks in here just in the near future. But I really want to wait until we get smart splitters to make this a little bit more efficient. So yeah, maybe we go back and try to figure out what it is that we can unlock and can't unlock now that we have some plastic in our dimensional pocket. And I can't wait to get back to base. It's gonna be so much better between Jetpack and Zipline. Oh, Jetpack. Oh man, this is so much better. This is so much better. Okay, so what can we unlock? Well, Mark IV Logistics is looking pretty tasty now. The 200 rubber should be pretty soon. And the blueprints Mark II, I think that we may have enough computers in our storage to get this unlocked as well. Industrial manufacturing, now that we need that, because that's the only way we're going to get the modular engines and the adaptive control units. And we'll be able to make computers with the plastic that we're making right now. I don't think we're ready for trains or anything that has to do with trains. Mark II piping, not as important right now. So I definitely think that's it. I think we need to go ahead and unlock all the things with the plastic and rubber that we possibly can. So we'll select this milestone and go with it first. And we'll have to go gather up a few of the resources. How much plastic and rubber have we made already? Oh my gosh, we have 600 plastic and 600 rubber already. That's awesome. So much. So we can definitely unlock that stuff. It's definitely going to be unlocked. I need to go grab some more things. Now I'm so excited. This is, like I said, you're at the mid game. I can fly around with my jetpack. The game is about to get way better. Way better. I know it. I know it. You know it. It's going to be great. And now with everything loaded up, we'll get the Logistics Mark IV. Wait for the pod to come back, load up the necessary items for industrial manufacturing to get the manufacturers, wait for the pod to come back, then load everything up for the Mark II blueprinter and launch that sucker off. I think that's going to come in real handy in the very, very near future. And I think that this will be a really good spot for the blueprinter, and I want to go ahead and put that sucker up right away, just right here. As soon as I get more modular frames. Man, we had found those around just kind of on drop pods, and I had just enough to unlock all that stuff. So I need a few more, and then we can build that blueprinter. And then I'll talk about what it is that we're going to do with it. Okay, so now that we have our blueprinter, we have the ability to make any kind of set of machines that we would want. So if we wanted a simple smelting array, we could just come over here and make all the smelters that we could ever want. Now, why would we want to do something like that? Well, in case you want to build a big factory, you can just spam up a blueprint of these. And of course, we'll hook them up with their respective belts as according. Now this right here, it'll process 480 raw ore a minute. And that's pretty good seeing as how we have our Mark IV belts now. We could process tons more material with a blueprint like this and just spam them wherever we need to. And then you just delete the things that you don't need and you add on where you need more processing. It's a real easy way with blueprints. It makes making mega factories much simpler. Oh my, much simpler. So as long as you get it hooked up right the first time, you never have to really worry about it. And that's kind of the purpose of this. Now, why are we needing all this? Well, let me tell you, we're about to fill up the rest of our space here with a whole lot of stuff. Yeah, making the next space elevator part, it's going to take up the rest of this place and probably a lot of blueprints. So we'll have to make some up real quick. This particular one, it's set for copper, but if we want to smelt something else like, say, iron, we can just copy paste all the machines and then save it as an iron blueprint. This particular blueprint, well, it's going to be silica and it's going to produce a lot. Same concept as we have with the other blueprint, but it's just constructors. and we can copy paste this constructors as much as we want. Say we want to make a whole bunch of iron rods. Well, we just switch it over to iron rods and boom, we've got all the iron rods we could ever want. You want some plates? We've got plates. You want something else? It's that. Whatever you want it to be. It's a basic constructor blueprint that can be copy pasted to whatever you want. I can load this in, make it what I want, use it in the factory, and then boom, it's done. The really good thing is you can kind of be creative as far as other recipes and other machines go. Now here we have a basic assembler blueprint. It has a 480 belt that comes across and goes into everything, and then 60s that go off. So these are Mark 1 conveyor lifts, and they just kind of feed slowly into things that don't need too many recipes. Versatile framework doesn't need more than 30. Reinforced iron plates is the only one that needs 60 screws, but we tend to use the stitched, which doesn't need as much as well. The steel modular frames, 10 and 2. Encased industrial beams, 36 and 18. If you need to upgrade things, well, it's pretty easy. You just lay down the blueprint, copy what you need, put in the thing that you want, and upgrade it until your heart's content. And then save it, or don't save it. Make it all Mark 1 stuff. It's pretty easy. I like this kind of design, and the reason is it makes things kind of simple to upgrade and have what you want where you want it. It's not too bad of a design. I mean, I guess I could make something specific for every individual thing, and then you've got all these categories that you can do, but I just like to have what I want when I need it. I can build this blueprint maker wherever I want. And if I want to go through and copy paste and make a specific blueprint temporarily, well, I've done it in the past and I'll probably do it in the future. It's just getting the basics down, getting the 2-belt system going, getting things at the right level and as compact as we could possibly make it. I mean, the foundry setup is basically the same. We could do some other fancy things like have this go over there and make this much more compact. But as of right now, I don't really need it. I think we'll have plenty of space to kind of do the things that we're about to do in this area. But I think that's going to be it for today. Just because the next thing that we need to do now that we have all of the things that we need to get the space elevator parts assembled, that's what we need to do. We need to start working on our next piece of project assembly. I think that modular engines and adaptive control units to get to the next space elevator part, that's definitely going to have to be next. Because it's going to take a long time to probably get those, and I'm not going to go too crazy when it has to do with how many of those we're producing. We just need 100 of one and 500 of the other. The versatile frameworks, that's an easy thing to build considering the adaptive control units and the modular engines. Those two things, they need rubber, plastic, computers, circuit boards, and I think we need some alternate recipes. Now, I have been busy getting the alternate recipes, as many as we can, to try to find some things that we definitely want. One of those things that I definitely want is this, encased industrial pipes. This eliminates beams out of the encased industrial beams. This one, yeah, we're getting that. Another one we definitely want is this one, the silicon circuit board. This recipe is way better, in my opinion, of the circuit boards. Using plastic, I want to try to stay away from that as much as possible. We're not producing a lot of plastic, so this one here, definitely gonna get it. As far as other alternate recipes, I don't really see anything right now that I really want. And I want to save these rescans for something in the future. It's been said that if you leave these selected recipes in here, when you scan a hard drive, you won't get this recipe a second time. Now, unfortunately, I have to choose something here, and here, and I don't know. Cheap silica seems like a really good option, but I don't need that yet. I think I'll hold on to that for now, because I do want cheap silica. It is a very good recipe. It's about 1.5 times stronger than the output currently with the base recipe. That's pretty good. It definitely is a good recipe, in my opinion. And all you have to do is use some limestone to get there. I mean, limestone is everywhere in this game. But some of these I'm just not sold either way. I mean, charcoal, don't care. Basic iron ingots, adding more limestone to make this, I mean, that seems good and all, but I'm not ready to use a foundry to make that. The solid steel ingots, well, that's a pretty good recipe. It's almost better than what the current recipe is. I mean, you're using 3 to 3. This is a little bit better. It's 2 to 3. But you do have to smelt into iron ingots before you can get there. And this is a 1 to 1, so it's not that much better, but it's better enough that it is a good one. So we'll keep that on the side for now. Wet concrete is always a good recipe, but we don't need it right now. So I'm just gonna hold it here until I need it. And then I have that recipe in the pocket. All of the pure alternate recipes are fantastic, and Caterium being probably one of the best, just because there's a limited amount of Caterium ore in the entire map. And it would be really nice to get the most out of what we got. But I'll probably save a lot of the recipe selection for another time because, again, we are way over time that I've budgeted for this episode. So if you're excited to see Phase 3 get completed of the project assembly, well, tune in next week when we start filling all this space with all kinds of assemblers, manufacturers, smelters, and all kinds of other stuff. If you did enjoy what you saw today and you would like to support, there are 2 links in the description. One is for Patreon, and the other is for Discord. Support on either is greatly appreciated. But the best way to support is always to like and subscribe, as it does help the channel out. Hit the notification bell so you can be alerted of any time any Satisfactory or any other content gets uploaded to the page. Click one of the buttons on the screen right now to see what else we've played, and don't forget to keep gaming for the love of games. Bye now.